Jerry's got a whole lot of stars to pay. Dak, Micah, CeeDee Lamb, who's not backing down. Lamb continues his holdout as he looks for a new contract that could make him one of the NFL's highest paid receivers, as he still has not reported to training camp. His star teammate, Micah Parsons, gave his 2 cents on the dispute between Lamb and the team. Listen up.
We have our talks, but at the end of the day, me and CeeDee and all of us, we kind of know what it is. CeeDee's a part of his brotherhood, whether he likes it or not. He know he's not going nowhere. The business side, they're going to take care of it, but, obviously we miss him. I mean, he's one of the best people you can have in the locker room. And, I'm pretty sure he'll be here soon because no doubt about it, week 1, he will be suiting up for the Dallas Cowboys.
Speaking of suiting up, suited and booted like the first day of school. Louis Riddick in the building. Great to see you. Great to have you with us. I want to
Money green right there.
What's that?
Exactly.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I just hear this. I just hear this voice, this legendary voice in my ear.
It's a decent suit, my brother.
Yeah, I know.
It's a decent suit. Look, stop acting like you didn't miss me.
What are you doing in Miami?
Like you didn't miss me.
Where are you?
Smile when you talking to me. You know
Where
you
are
missed
you?
me.
He's in the middle of the ocean.
Well,
like,
I'm at a.
It's a flex.
He's
in the water.
It's someplace
on a yacht.
Yeah, he's currently on a floaty in the water.
I mean, I can never keep track of you, man. I mean, it's just wild. I mean, you just got a lot going on.
Time,
yeah, I know. He got a lot going on.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. See what I'm saying?
I know.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like new money, but old money all at the same time. All right, Lou, tell me this.
Yeah.
CeeDee holdout.
Ain't no new money. Ain't no new money.
Oh, yeah.
Not yet.
He's working on that. Yeah, I got that. Yeah.
Got it. Picking up what you're putting down, Steve. Is the CeeDee holdout a big deal or not a big deal?
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. All right, there's the football component of it, right? This is a guy who had, 1,000 more receiving yards than the next closest receiver on their football team last year. So you know that the load that he carries for this football team, if you don't have him on the football team, you can just forget it. They are not going to win the East, and they're not going to be a factor in the NFC overall if he's not there. That's number one. Number two, the message that you're sending to your football team, okay, by not taking care of a guy who you drafted, you developed, who has produced for you, who has been an absolute A-plus character off the football field, the message that you send with those kind of guys is this: you have no issues letting them set the market. You go ahead and set the market with guys like this, because these are guys who will allow you to sleep at night once you go ahead and pay them, a high-level guaranteed money, and you put their average per year up there at the very top of the market. So to me, to not have the deal done for those two factors alone, to me, just don't make any sense. You can sit there and joke it away and laugh it away and say, well, he'll be here before the season starts. Okay, look, you can go ahead and engage in all that kind of rhetoric, but he should have been done. He should have been setting the market. This contract should have been done a long time ago because the blueprint has already been there. He should have been a 35-plus per year player. It shouldn't even be something here where you're haggling over price. And considering the fact that, what was it today that I saw about the value of the Dallas Cowboys, now the most valuable franchise in all the world at over $10 billion, I assume you don't have a cash issue down there in Dallas.
Yeah, it's kind of a slap in the face.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like some teams face, as far as, there's cap issues and then there's cash issues. Yeah. And a lot of time cash issues will hold up contract negotiations because you're always negotiating how the money is going to be paid out to you. That shouldn't be an issue here in Dallas. This should be a no-brainer. So to me, you're sending all the wrong messages, all kinds of mixed signals. So what does this mean for Dak Prescott? What does it mean for Micah Parsons when their time comes up too? Because remember, Jerry's all in, right? He's all in.
Mad Dog?
Yeah, I completely disagree with Louis, completely. The bottom line is, as you heard Parsons tell you, he's going to be there week 1. You want to make a big deal about chemistry in August? I cannot. We've gone through contract holdouts in the NFL for 100 years. Guys want, and the NFL player puts his life on his line. I understand that, so he wants his money. Riddick, we've seen it. We've seen it with Emmitt Smith in the past. We've seen it with Ayuk. We've seen it with DB Samuel. We've seen it with quarterback. We've seen this 1,000 times. We saw it with Rodgers with the Packers a couple years. Then they go 14-3 when he didn't show up until August. Here's the bottom line. On September 8th, when they play at Cleveland, is he on the field? The answer is yes.
Actually, but it is a bigger deal.
Well, why is it a big deal?
It is a big. Okay, well, all right. Now let's get into the football part of this. What position does he play?
He's played there before.
He's played wide receiver, right? Oh, hold on. Let me just say this. He's played wide receiver, right?
Yeah.
The only way you get in football shape is playing football.
All right.
So what do you think right now he is going to subject himself to in terms of potential injury? Hamstrings, calves, that kind of thing, soft tissue injuries. If he's not on the field, I promise you, you were going to have to take your time with CeeDee to get him ramped up. And they're supposed to be all in. This is supposed to be a team that's challenging in the East, challenging in the NFC, and challenging to be a Super Bowl contender. It is a big deal for him not being there.
It
is a big deal.
Game season. If he takes a couple of weeks.
Okay, well, it's not like they're favorites in the East anyway. Okay, they don't have time to catch up in the end.
They did last year. The Eagles were 11-10-1, and they still won the division. They collapsed the Eagles, and they were 3 out.
How's the Cowboys doing the playoffs?
This ain't different story. Hold on. I don't care what happened. I don't care what happened last year. This ain't the same team. Dallas is markedly weaker this year than they were last year anyway.
Elle, whose side are you on?
I'm actually on Lewis's side here. Just because, listen, in terms of like on the field and whether it's going to have an impact, it's not like CeeDee and Dak haven't worked together before. Like, I'm not as concerned about that. To me, it's about what it signals. I had our researcher, Jenny, pull this, and you're a front office guy, Lewis, so I want you to tell me what you think this signals in terms of their investment in this team. The Cowboys are 31st in the NFL in total cash value spent on current contracts. Right now, Dak Prescott's the only Cowboy that's making at least $20 million this season, and he's making $34 million.
Yeah, it's been that way for the past 3 years.
Okay, so when you say, to your point, we are all in on what? This is a Cowboys team that has been knocking on the door. They're knocking on the door so damn much. I'm wondering if they're trying to sell solar panels or if they're trying to win football games.
Solar panels.
You have got to secure and shore up one of the main reasons that you've been as successful as you have been, at least in the regular season. This is important. You keep saying we're all in. You did absolutely nothing to replace the people that left. You're trying to do that by supplementing with the draft. You're saying that you don't have any money and you're crying poor. They are on the brink of disaster here with the Cowboys. So the idea that you can't lock up someone who is integral, foundational to the success of your team is an embarrassment and a huge problem.
I agree with Lewis. I agree with Elle. But I think that there's an important thing to bring up here. When we talk about Jerry Jones, my buddy, I reached out to the Dallas Cowboys requesting a one-on-one interview with Jerry Jones. Don't know if I'll get it. I hope I will, because I'm not joking. I have fun trolling Dallas Cowboy fans just like they have fun with me, although I've won for 29 straight years and counting. We know I get the better of them every year, every single year. They're the gift that keeps on giving. But when you throw trolling aside and all the fun stuff aside, Jerry Jones has a serious problem. And I'm anxious to talk to him about this. I'm looking at CeeDee Lamb here. Market value at about $34 million annual salary. Market value is 4 years, $136.1 million. That's what they say right now. Okay, we look at the depth chart of the Dallas Cowboys. Outside of Brandon Cooks at your number 2 wide receiver slot, the only thing notable about the Dallas Cowboys receivers is that 3 of them are named Jalen. That's about it. Jalen Tolbert, Jalen Brooks, Jalen Moreno Cropper. Okay, didn't even know he was on the squad. He's yet to play in the NFL. Brooks had 6 catches as a rookie last year. Tolbert had 24 catches in the last 2 years. That's what you're giving Dak Prescott to work with. Yeah, you went and got Ezekiel Elliott, who ain't what he used to be. That's a bell cow that obviously you only had 7 rushing touchdowns in the red zone last year. So you're thinking you're going to improve upon that because you're going to be able to hand him the ball in short yardage situations in the red zone area. But how are you going to get to the red zone area? What you going to do if you don't have a CeeDee Lamb out there and you're going to put Brandon Cooks under that kind of spotlight? So knowing this is your reality, why would you do this if you're Jerry Jones? Why are you a franchise that's worth $10 billion, but you're on the books as a team that this offseason has spent less than any other team in the National Football League by approximately a $30 million margin? Why are you doing this? And it harkens me back, and it's something that we'll touch on later on in the show. But Louis Riddick, while you're here, I wanted to bring this up. One of the most memorable scenes that I've seen as a reporter throughout the years was when I watched Emmitt Smith back in 1992, 1993. They had just won the Super Bowl. He was leading rusher in the National Football League. They were the reigning defending Super Bowl champions. And Jerry Jones forced him to hold out. Wouldn't budge. And it was only, Doggy, you remember this, it was only after Jimmy Johnson, then the coach at the time, came in after an 0-2 start, looked at the media and went like this, and didn't even say anything, that Jerry Jones went and signed Emmitt Smith. I talked to Emmitt Smith about this years ago. I have, to this day, never seen anybody that had received a record contract, Doggy, Lewis, Elle. I had never seen anybody that received a record contract in any sport looked that furious. In the press conference, go back and watch the footage. He had fury on his face. Where was the fury coming from? It was earned. It wasn't given. I'm the best rusher in football. We're the reigning Super Bowl champions. Our success is predicated on our running game, even though we got Michael Irvin and even though we got Troy Aikman. You know what this is about, and you're forcing me to do this. Why do I bring something like that up? Years later, you know who didn't have to experience that? Hey, Louis Riddick, could you educate me? Did Tony Romo have to deal with that? See, Dak Prescott did. Mm-hmm. You see, CeeDee Lamb has to. Micah Parsons might have to. You understand? But somehow, some way, Tony Romo, outstanding football analyst for CBS, pretty damn good as a pro quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, but he had no Super Bowl championships. He had no appearances in the NFC Championship game. He didn't win anything come postseason. But you made sure to give him his bag. But Dak got to wait. And CeeDee Lamb got to wait. And everybody else got to wait. Why, Jerry? Why? At some point in time, we're going to have to ask these questions. And if I see them, whether it's on the record in front of the camera or off the record, I'm going to ask that man, why? CeeDee Lamb, 135 receptions, 1,700 plus yards. I'm looking at some of these numbers here. Last 2 seasons, #1 in receptions with 242, #2 in receiving yards with 3,108, #2 in touchdowns behind Devontae Adams with 21. And this brother has to go through this? Why? At some point in time, we got to look at that, doggy. We can't just look at the system. We can't just look at the players. We got to look at the fact that according to your rules and regulations, this is what it takes to be elite. Mm-hmm. I'm elite, and I'm still going through BS with you. Yeah. Why? That is the point that Jerry Jones has to be confronted by. We know you're going to take care of it. We know you're going to take care of it. Why you got to do that? What you doing that to him for? That's the issue.
Diggs got paid a fortune, did he not? Yes, he did. The defensive back. And then
No, I'm talking about the holdout prior to. I'm not saying they didn't get paid, doggy. I'm talking about the holdout prior to getting paid.
This is an easy one, though. This is an easy one that should have been done, and this should have been setting the tone for the organization all offseason. Like I've been saying this all offseason. I'm going to say this more as the season goes along because you're going to see this happening. Wide receiver has become the most important position on a football team, regardless of whether you're talking about NFL, college, or high school, outside of quarterback. It just is. These are the guys that flip the games on their head with one play. These are the guys that make people buy merchandise. These are the guys that make people want to engage in fantasy football. And here's the other most important thing. These are the guys who, quite honestly, recruit other players to come, make other players want to come and play with them. Because they are the one, they're the ticket sellers. They drive business. So when you have a guy like CeeDee Lamb who's your own, pay him. Just give it to him. He's earned it. It's simple. This is so simple to me.
Is it that big a deal, Louis, if you pay him on August 25th?
Yes, it is. Because then you start coming into the availability questions when you're talking about guys who play that position.